all the people of the world. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabhu Kali Dvando Ditya Ditya Shri Krishna Parivartita. O life breath of the Vaishnava devotees, O Lord, you are the sun which has risen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. You actually Lord Krishna who has returned among us. Paramananda Pathaya Prema Varshi Aksharayate Sarvada Sarva Sevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namastume. O Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. By your recitation, one attains transcendental bliss, because your syllables shower pure love of God upon the reader. You are always to be served by everyone, for you are an incarnation of Lord Shri Krishna. Madeka bandho mat sangen, mat guru mat mahadana, man nistaraksha mat bhagya, mat ananda namastute. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O my only friend, O my companion, O my teacher, O my great wealth, O my deliverer, O my good fortune, O my bliss, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Asadhu sadhu tadayin ati nischo yutta charaka hana muncha kadachid mam premna hritkantayo spuraha. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O uplifter of the most fallen, please don't ever leave me. Please manifest yourself in my heart and in my throat, accompanied by pure love of God. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So the usual one that we recite is Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet. So before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Nar Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasdev, the author. Nastaprayesu abhadresu nityam bhagavate sevaya bhagavate uttam sloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is presided with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So I'll start with the lessons. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, lessons from chapter 1. The Supreme Personality of Godhead exists within the heart of every living being and is prepared to give bhakti yoga to everyone, but one must be capable of receiving it. So the title of this chapter 1 is The Supreme Lord is Equal to Everyone. So since the Lord does not have material qualifications and being the super soul in every living being's heart, he is extremely dear to everyone. Thus, his punishment and his offering of favor of both of the same value. In Bhagavad Gita chapter 18, text 66, when the Lord says, Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam saranam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayasyami ma suchaha. That means abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. So when he said that, he did not say that only to Arjuna, but to every living entity within this universe. But how many individuals surrender unto him? Obviously, those who surrender, they will be favored. So chapter 2. Lesson is, since our consciousness can be changed by spiritual education, we simply have to carry out the order of the Supreme Lord to become free from the influence of the modes of material nature. The title is Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons. As we know that at the time of death, the position of the mind becomes a cause of the next body. But when the mind is engaged at the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord, our intelligence is purified. Thus the intelligence is inspired by the super soul. Eventually, we can make progress toward liberation from material bondage. Hiranyakashipu had the knowledge, but did not put it into practice. He proclaimed himself God, and instead of freeing himself from the influence of the modes of material nature, he got more entangled, which would eventually cause his downfall. So, chapter 3. After long austerities and penances, one may obtain mystic powers, which eventually are vanquished, but the powers obtained by the mercy of the Lord are never vanquished. The title is Hiranyakashipu's plan to become immortal. So Hiranyakashipu did severe austerities for material benefits, which caused great distress to the whole universe. So when Lord Brahma appeared in front of him, he asked to be immortal, which Lord Brahma could not grant him. He tried to ask for different benedictions, which he thought would eventually grant him immortality. Also, he wanted to conquer Lord Brahma's abode, but he was not aware that even after such austerities, he would fall down. He would fall down again to struggle in the material existence. So we find a similar scenario where Lord Shiva granted the demon Bhasmasura a benediction, which he wanted to use on Lord Shiva himself. Eventually, Lord Shiva was saved by Lord Krishna. And chapter 4, by their pious activities, some souls are promoted to the higher planetary system, thinking only of enjoyment, but it is stated that there is no peace and prosperity in the free worlds without disturbance. So the title is Hiranyakashipu terrorizes the universe. In this chapter, not only the beauty and opulence of the heavenly planets are described, but also how blessed the inhabitants were. Unfortunately, as stated in the lessons, there were disturbances caused by the demons. By his austerities and penances, Hiranyakashipu obtained boons from Lord Brahma. He thought that he could rule everyone very severely. He became very envious of the demigods and chastised them for no reason. He proclaimed himself God, but his young son did not accept him as God. He did not realize that only the Supreme Personality of Godhead can bestow unvanquished benediction. He was satisfied by the benediction he received from Lord Brahma. So chapter 5, it doesn't always happen that good parents get perfect children or vice versa. And good and great personalities can appear even in the demoniac families. Similarly, demoniac personalities can also take the birth in pious families. So title is Prahlad Maharaj, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu. So Hiranyakashipu was a great demon, yet his son was a saintly person. Due to his association with Narad Muni, when he was in the womb of his mother, Prahlad Maharaj became saintly. Similarly, we saw in Canto 4, chapter 13 and 14, how King Anga and Queen Sunita, who were very pious people, had a cruel son by the name of Vena. Also, King Ugrasena had the sons of, his sons was Kamsa, who was very demoniac. So, greatest lesson here is that we should always associate with saintly person, mainly pregnant women, so that our progenitors become saintly as Prahlad. And chapter 6, as a saying goes, education is taught at home. Anyone can start learning from a very tender age, where the brain is like sponge and an empty room, ready to absorb and retain any acquired knowledge. Title is Prahlad Maharaj instructs his demoniac schoolmates. Prahlad Maharaj learned from Narad Muni when he was still in the womb of his mother. At the tender age of 5 and 6, he was instructing his school friends about devotional activities. He was such a staunch devotee that he was able to convince even the children coming from the demoniac descendants. He was not attached to the heavenly opulence or kingdom of his father. He did not want to waste his precious human life in playing or studying the mundane way of life. He did not desire anything. He was satisfied just by chanting the holy name of the Lord and by glorifying him. He wanted everyone to render devotional service unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Chapter 7. So if we perform bhakti yoga in relationship with Lord Shri Krishna, we can immediately acquire knowledge and detachment from the world and be situated on the platform of pure religion. Title is What Prahlad Maharaj Learned in the Womb. Prahlad Maharaj talked about what he heard from Narad Muni when he was in the womb of his mother. He concluded that without a devotional service, there is no happiness. Therefore, the duty of all devotees is to preach Krishna consciousness everywhere because all the living entities are suffering due to ignorance. If we work for the benefit of others, we can make our life also perfect. Because as devotee, we see everyone and everything in relation with the Lord's energy. Chapter 8, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so kind and merciful that he can appear in any form, anywhere, at any time, and any circumstance, just to protect and to keep the words of his pure devotees. Title is Lord Nrsimhadev Slies the King of the Demons. So when the king of demons, Hiranyakashipu, could not get the benediction of immortality from Lord Brahma, he tried to get many benedictions, thinking that he could be immortal. But he did not know that the Supreme Personality of Godhead could take any form and could even appear from a pillar with different features to negate all the benedictions given by Lord Brahma. Thus, the Lord appears as Nrsimhadev and kills Hiranyakashipu. It is also stated that Hiranyakashipu was a gatekeeper of the Lord in Vaikuntha, as Jaya. Being cursed by the four Kumaras, he took birth as a demon to satisfy the desire of the Lord in the chivalrous activities. In chapter 9, one doesn't need high educational qualification or certain age to attain the Lord, who is attainable by anyone at any age through pure devotional service. Title is Prahlad Maharaj pacifies Lord Nrsimhadev with prayers. When Lord Nrsimhadev appeared and killed Hiranyakashipu, he was so angry that no one dared approach him. Young Prahlad pacified the Lord with his prayers. In many instances, we have seen that the Lord can be attained by even young children. Here we see Prahlad Maharaj, who was 6 years old. Then we know about Dhruva Maharaj, who was 5 years old. Also, when Narad Muni was 5 years old, the Lord manifested in his heart. Let alone human beings, the Lord manifests even. He even shows mercy to animals like Gajendra and the squirrel in Ramayana. So chapter 10, simple living and high thinking is the best way of life, because accumulation of too many material possessions get us more entangled in the material world and draw us away from the spiritual life. And the title is Prahlad, the best among exalted devotees. So when Nrsimhadev was pacified by Prahlad Maharaj after killing Hiranyakashipu, the Lord asked Prahlad Maharaj to accept any benediction from him. But Prahlad Maharaj was not allured by the material possessions. Instead, he requested the Lord to forgive his demoniac father, despite of the latter trying to kill him in so many ways. Prahlad Maharaj was not envious of anyone, and he exhibited the real quality of an exalted devotee. After performing the funeral rites of his father, he worshipped all the demigods present there, and he was installed on the throne as a king. Chapter 11, to create a perfect society, everyone should follow the Varnashrama Dharma system and should perform their prescribed duties faithfully. Then we are sure to be on the righteous spiritual path. Title is A Perfect Society for Social Classes. In this chapter, Maharaj Yudhishthira is asking about the characteristics of Varnashrama Dharma. Narad Muni explains about the system and outlines their specific duties and the religious principles, which consist of the codes of law and law given by God. Srila Prabhupada explained that for peace and happiness in this material world, the Varnashrama institution must be introduced and the symptoms of one's activities must be defined so that one can be educated accordingly. Then spiritual advancement will automatically be present. Chapter 12. If people follow the 4 spiritual classes since the young ages, they may realize the all-pervading presence of the Supreme Lord. Then it may be possible for them to understand the absolute truth. The title is The Perfect Society for Spiritual Classes. So Narad Muni continues by explaining about the 4 spiritual classes. He emphasizes mostly on the Brahmacharya and Grihastha ashramas. He also explained about the austerities and of the Varnaprastha and sannyasis. He stated if at the end of life one cannot continue with the austere life, one should give up all activities and focusing on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One should start merging their bodily parts and the different aspects of life to different demigods and to the material elements. Thus, the living entity who is completely spiritual should stop eating and drinking and cease from material existence. Chapter 13. The purpose of life of a saintly person is disclosed by his behavior, not by his speech. Although he may be the greatest thoughtful orator, he always prefers to remain silent. The title is The Behavior of a Perfect Person. Here Narad Muni explained mostly about the free spiritual classes, and namely the brahmachari, vanaprastha, and sannyasas, and how they should act in society. First, he explained about their dealings because they are important for the fulfillment of the goal of life, because in these ashramas, there is no scope for sex life. Narad Muni wants to stress that sex is not at all necessary, but if absolutely required, then one is allowed to enter the Grihastha ashram, which is also regulated by Shastras and Gurus. Chapter 14. To purify our strong and sinful inclination toward material and family attachment, everyone, especially the Grihasthas, should constantly associate with devotees and listen to the topics of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. Title is Ideal Family Life. In this chapter, Srila Prabhupada explained in his purport about an ideal family. Mostly he talks about grihastas, how they should live simple life with bare necessities. Also, they should not work hard for their sense gratification. Their main job should be agriculture, cow protection, and trade. They should treat everyone equally and feed even the animals. They should give charity to qualified brahmanas. Although living with a family, they should not be attached to wife and children. They should always associate with devotees and listen to the topics of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam again and again. Chapter 15. It is a great offense to compare the Supreme Personality of Godhead to demigods, and neglecting the worship of the Supreme Lord definitely causes the downfall of the living entities. The title is Instruction to Civilized Human Beings. Narad Muni gives instruction to the different level of human beings. He shows the differences between the great grades of brahmanas. Some brahmanas are householders and are mostly attached to fruitive activities. Those who are attracted by austerities and penances are known as vanaprastha and are retired from family life. Others are interested in studying the Vedas and explaining the purport to people. Above all are the sannyasis who are interested in the bhakti yoga and jnana yoga. Narad Muni emphasized on the association of devotees by giving an example of his own previous life, where he associated with non-devotees and ignored the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He got cursed and became the son of a maidservant. Again, he associated with the great devotees of the Lord and took his spiritual life seriously. Thus, he took birth from Lord Brahma and gained the position of Narad Muni. Hare Krishna. Thank you everyone for listening.
Thank you so much. Very good. Anything anybody like to add or ask? So maybe what we can do is do a quick summary. Or do you want to read the whole
I can read it.
Okay. We'll read the Kadashi Katha today.